Buying your first property can feel like you're at the finish line, but really you're at the beginning. So today we'll be talking about how to turn your first property into cash flow. Stay tuned. So what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, welcome back. If not, today, like I said in the intro, we'll be talking about turning your first property into cash flow. What are the stages in the post-purchase process in which we need to take in order to start making money off of our property? And this will be a bonus to the Level Up series in which I just finished. If you haven't checked that out, go ahead and check that out on my channel. There's 4 parts in order to teach you exactly how to invest in your first property. So like I said, go ahead and check that out, and we'll get into this bonus video. I don't want to make this too long of a video. This will be kind of a rundown of things that we'll need to do in order to start making money. So let's get right into it. Now, the first stage in the post-purchase process is, what do you do the first 72 hours after purchasing? Now, really quick, I emphasize the first 72 hours because this is the time you want to take out in order to control the property. And you don't own the property until you control the access to the property. So when it comes to that access, you want to change the locks first and foremost, right? Change the locks, secure the windows and doors, make sure insurance is active. All these things you have to make sure of, because in the first 72 hours is when the most chaos can occur, when ownership is changing. So the risk is highest. And a lot of small mistakes that you neglect early on turn into huge, expensive ones later on. So think of the first 72 hours almost like setting the tone for the next 72 months. This is the time you're going to need to be very diligent in regards to securing the property in this fashion. So like I said, change the locks, make sure insurance is activated, secure the windows and the doors. So the first 72 hours is about controlling the access and controlling the asset. Now, the second stage to the post-purchase process is locking in your utilities and your insurance. Remember that an uninsured property is a liability. You have to make sure your insurance is activated, like I said in the first part, but this is more about the utilities. Whose name is the utilities going to be under, right? You may have an agreement with the tenant that the utilities will be paid by them, or if you want to take on the utilities yourself, which I personally do not do, you can make that arrangement as well. So you're locking both of these things in at the second stage. And like I said, a vacant and uninsured property is a liability. So make sure with your insurance agent or insurance company that you're working with that the insurance is bound. You want to prevent emergencies and any type of surprises down the line. So any level of safety issues that you need to address, anything that may become some type of hazard going forward, you have to address now. You might as well address it right after purchase so that down the line it doesn't become a bigger problem than what it needs to be. So one way you can do this is testing out the roof, the plumbing, the HVAC, the electrical, making sure that those things are intact going forward so that the tenant, whenever you get the tenant, if it's a vacant, whenever you get the tenant, they'll be comfortable and also protecting you as well. So the stabilization of a property comes before you upgrade the property. Now that leads me into stage 3 of the post-purchase process, where we're looking to get the property rent ready and we're looking to finally turn it into income. This is where we're looking to prepare the asset to actually perform. So with this stage, we're cleaning where we can, we're painting where it needs, any minor repairs that we need to get situated. These are what we're addressing at this stage so that we're getting it rent ready. This is also the stage in which you list the unit and you confirm the rent comps in the area. So remember, whenever that tenant moves in, it's whenever cash flow starts. It doesn't start whenever you close a deal, but it really starts when you're looking to get the property rent ready and you begin this stage of the process. So for example, with my first property, I had to kick out a couple of the former tenants that were in a couple of the units, remove them, and then while it was vacant, I was able to do minor renovations to both of the units that I had to renovate. So I was able to add 2 more bedrooms to the upstairs unit, and I was also able to add a couple minor things in the smaller unit downstairs. So this is what I'm speaking on whenever I say getting it rent ready, because before the tenants even move in, I'm already setting myself up for better rents. Yes, get the property rent ready, get somebody moved in as quick as possible, and this is where you're starting the process of cash flowing on your first asset. Now, the fourth stage is the systems and the structure that you will implement to make this process like a business, and also to make it easier for yourself, right? So for me, the system in which I have a property manager that manages, which is also my agent, but he manages my properties, both of them. So he's already had the tools and everything that he's needed, the skill set that he's needed in order to run these properties efficiently. So with him, he establishes the communication that he'll have to have with the tenants. He also has the rent collection app that he uses for rent called Turbo Tenant. The maintenance process that we use, he already has the connections with that. So all I have to do is tell him an issue that a tenant may have brought to me if that so happened, and we can already have that contact in place to address that issue. Record keeping as well. A lot of things have to be documented. There's a lot of things that could potentially happen on the property that you should keep record of, just for potential legal reasons. So we have to make sure, like I said, protecting ourselves, and we're also protecting the tenants as well. It's not all about us. It's also about serving the tenant. So make sure we're keeping record of things, make sure we're communicating with each other. Though I have a property manager, I have kept open communication with the tenants in which I live close to. Although it can get chaotic at times, it's great to have that communication in general. So the systems that you use and the structure that you will implement to make this an easier process will remove the emotion and replace the stress involved with real estate. Now, for the fifth and final stage, we want to monitor and adjust however we need to. Up until this point, you have your tenant moved in, you've implemented your systems, your structure, you've made all the minor repairs or major repairs you've needed to make it as admirable as possible to anybody looking. Now you want to monitor. Now you want to adjust however you need. And what I mean by that is the cash flow you're beginning to bring in monthly, track it. The reason you want to track your cash flow, you want to review your expenses, is think of cash flow almost like the report card of a property. This lets you know if the deal is actually working. So obviously that coincides with the expenses, how much you're spending each month. You have to make sure that you're actually making money. At least that's the goal. You want to actually make money. And if you're not, how do you plan to, in the future, make this a good deal, like I spoke on in my last video of the Level Up series? So make sure you're planning ahead and make sure you have your mind set on what is your next step? What is your next goal? Do you plan to refinance? Do you plan to buy within the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months? What really are you looking to do after this property right here? You're monitoring your cash flow, you're monitoring your expenses, and you're adjusting whatever you need to adjust in order to make it a good deal for you. And I had to remember that after I got done with my first deal, it would teach me how to do my second one better. And that's why I got an even better second deal, an even better second property, cash flowing a lot more, my second property than I did with my first. So let this be a learning lesson so that we can continue to scale, continue to build our portfolio on this path to wealth. So I hope you enjoyed that. Just to sum this up, remember, buying the property is one step. Managing it is the process. Cash flowing is the reward. This is the bonus to the Level Up series. Just something real quick, what to do after you purchase your first property, right? Remember that wealth, cash flow is not built at closing day. It's built after. So that's what some of this video is. I hope that the information was clear enough. If not, leave it in the comments what I should have been clear on, what any questions you have. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Win at all costs. Thank you for watching.